What's up, everyone? Welcome to my combo guide for Lidia Sobieska. If you got here first, make sure you check out the full character breakdown linked in the description to go over everything the character does, all the tools and how to use them before you start hitting people with huge combos. But if huge combos is all you need, then you came to the right video first. Before I go over all the huge combos, I want to just talk about little mini combos the character gets. Things that are just like a hard knockdown into a stomp, for example. I'm kind of a fan of these in Tekken more so than everything turning into a counter hit launcher, which is what we're getting. Seems like every time you hit someone, it's 90 damage combo to the wall. I would much rather certain attacks just result in a quick follow-up, get some nice damage, get your reward, and then go back to business without having everything just be a combo contest. So I like that the character has a lot of these, and they're pretty much the same format. She has knockdowns where you get this for free. This double strike hits them on the ground. So that's what we're going to go over first, these little mini combos. The list on the side of the screen has all of the particular hits that result in this follow-up. I just want to show them to you as an example. First up is while rounding 1. Nice and easy. Nowhere near as hard as the one they gave Kazumi in Season 4. This is super easy. Running 1, guaranteed follow. Forward, forward 1 plus 2. In most of these, you can also do forward, forward 2 and end up in stance, which is also of an advantage too. It's much less damage, but you do get a nice opportunity to go into your cat foot stance mix-up right on top. So keep that in mind. Forward, forward 2 works in all these situations as well. But forward, forward 1 plus 2 is that nice damage. Depends on what you want. Keep it fresh, mix up the tempo on them so they're never able to just stand up safely and read you. Keep them guessing all the time. Forward, forward 3 plus 4. This one you get the follow-up if they do not tech. They can tech roll that backwards as soon as they hit the ground, so you can see it doesn't say combo on the screen. It's not technically guaranteed, but if they do forget to tech roll, you hit them with that, go for it. Odds are if you miss, if they did tech roll and you miss, you're going to be out of their range anyway, so it's okay. Forward, forward 3 plus 4. Just remember, if they forget, you got that shot on them. Next up, down forward 3, 4. Anytime that forward kick connects, you get the guaranteed follow-up. If the whole string is a counter hit, you get it all that way, 65 damage. Next up, down forward 3, 1, 2. You can see that one lands a little bit further away, but the result is the same. Next up, couple of counter hits give you the same thing. Out of cat foot stance 2, the one where you do back 3 plus 4. This is cat foot 2. So from that stance, the one attack on counter hit gets you the follow-up, as does the 1 plus 2 attack. Same follow-up. Almost 60 damage. Is really big. That's just a tremendous amount of damage to get off a one little thing. If you're if you're just playing the game, all of a sudden, and you catch that as a counter hit, like you're just poking them, and then boom, 60 damage off of that is a lot. And like I said, I like that rather than a combo because it's quick and to the point. I'd rather not have to sit and watch juggles all day. Let's just hit them hard and keep moving. I like the tempo this character brings in that situation. So those are all of the knockdowns that guarantee your forward, forward 1 plus 2. She has several situations that are hard spikes in the ground where she can get a down 2 for free. Cat foot stance 1, where she does forward 3 plus 4. The 4 out of that stance, down 2 is guaranteed. Normal hit, guaranteed down 2. You also get this on the counter hit from sidestep 2. Now you see in that case it didn't knock him down. Sidestep moves are very finicky like that. If you hit them too far from the side, it doesn't register the property. You'll see a lot of things that'll mention that. Like for example, Lydia's down back 3-2, it says in the move list only during a clean hit from the front. So it has to hit the character, quote, in the front for the effects to work. And the last patch went through the game and tightened a lot of those. So when you do hit them in the side, you get the desired result, right? Because what's the point of doing a sidestep move and it not working because you're on their side? That seems dumb. But this is going to be one of those cases. If you're not quite lined up, it can fail. But for the most part, sidestep 2 and counter hit, see, misses. Counter hit, up forward 3. Same thing. Plenty of time to recover and pop them. I really like how they gave her these like tumbling kicks and let her recover super fast and keep fighting. Doesn't slow the game down at all. She gets up way faster than you do. Bang. Right back into it. The last one worth noting is counter hit 1, 2, 4. Dash up and you get your down 2 that way. What's unique about this is if you do the final hit, 1, 2, 4, 4, you notice you don't get the knockdown anymore. The inclusion of that last hit changes the property of the move. This is very risky overall because when you're doing 1, 2, 4, you're going to get low parried a lot. And the only time you're ever going to even do this fourth hit, the only way that ever hits them is if they try to punish the low. There's no reason. Counter hit won't do it. It's kind of an odd situation to ever find yourself in. So I wouldn't worry about it too much, but if you do ever happen to 1, 2, 4 and catch them, you get a guaranteed stomp with that as well. Next up are just a couple of random interactions. Back 3-1 is a pretty nice string. It's got good range mid-kick. This isn't safe on block. You can see, I'll turn the frame data on. It is -11. So you don't want to just do this move all day and get punished for it. However, it's worth setting up just single hits and pokes and stuff like that. Annoy people, poke. So they try to counter poke you. That one lands as a counter hit. So when that lands as a counter hit, look at the frame data. It says +14. Lidia is +14 and she can hit you for free with that. That is guaranteed on that counter hit. There's nothing they can do about it. Can't tech, can't do anything. So when you recognize this counter hit, that whole string is completely free, 53 damage. If you're near the wall, however, because anything that's 14 frames or faster will hit, you can do forward 2-4, which will splat them to the wall even better, because this string does not wall splat. So forward 2-4 is also a good option if you're looking for that balcony break or whatever it is. In addition to this, your rage drive can be done in 14 frames. If you recognize this, I'm not going to sit here all day and try to time it just right, but rest assured, the rage drive can be done in sufficient time to connect that and get a screw attack out of it from there. So once you learn that timing, that is a really indispensable tool. You're really going to want to fish for that. Whenever you know you've got somebody that's jumpy, ready to try to like counter poke you at the wrong time, she has tons of moves that'll blow that up, but this is a really good one. That one works pretty well for getting a big reward from a bad button from your opponent. Next up is counter hit down forward 2. Because this automatically puts you in cat foot 2, you can't cancel out of it and get a combo or anything. Your screw attack doesn't reach, etc. All you really do here is just press 1. Cat foot 2 on hit goes into stance, but on counter hit, when you see that, press 1. That's all you need to do. 1 + 2 also works. Less damage. Whatever, it doesn't really make any difference. So when you catch that counter hit, nice easy 1 button is your free follow-up. And the last one we're talking about is down back 4. This move has some interesting options. It is guaranteed on the ground, but if they get up incorrectly, you can relaunch them if they happen to roll sideways or do whatever it might be. Like, I'll switch it to back quick roll. You can see how it just flips them over like that, right? That's guaranteed. They can't get away from that. But you saw when I switched it back to side roll left, there are some weird timings that if it catches them just right, they get relaunched. They get up backwards, and this actually hits them in the rear like that. So they got to be careful about how they deal with that particular situation. They're going to get hit. So if they try to panic and quick roll to avoid the hit, they might end up getting relaunched. You might remember something like this with Noctis. Whenever he ends the combo with that like attack throw thing that he does and they're backwards, if they don't side roll exactly right, they get relaunched by a down forward 2. So the game does not have many of these anymore, but that one is there. I don't know about that staying in place, the relaunch factor. They might just change your spacing or whatever. But needless to say, the counter hit, down back 4, and the forward 3 is guaranteed. The relaunch is just a weird little quirk. So that's about it for the little mini combos. Like I said, I'm a fan of the pace this creates. You get big rewards, nice chunky damage for making just good, small, compact decisions. Counter hit here, counter hit there, nice reward, instead of it just turning into a combo party. I like that as the tempo of the character. I'd rather the game go in that direction as a whole, but I like how it adds this character. She continues to move. I'm going to do as much damage as you're going to do in a whole combo in these like 2 hits, and then we keep going. I like that a lot. So now let's take a look at all of the normal launchers that give you the great big combo parties that we also have. I just think it's cool the character focuses on smaller doses of damage rather than drawn out combos. But she's got enough where she needs them. They just kind of fit a slightly different mold. They're a different kind of set. Most of them are like crumple to the ground stuns rather than launch you in the air. Just kind of a slightly different character build. I feel like it's a little bit refreshing. It's not anything that's going to, you know, change the world. It's not going to feel strange or anything. It's just a little bit different, and I kind of like it. So starting off with her most basic launcher is a hop kick, up, forward, 4. But right away you see how not basic this actually is. Causes an automatic screw attack and delivers another hit. And where you can see it says 70% on the damage scaling to the left there, that means that second hit was delivered airborne. So that affects the way the combo works. A character like Julia, for example, her double hit hop kick, both those hits are on the ground. So that doesn't affect her. This affects her combos. So you have to be aware of stuff like that. If you also look at another one in the case of Catfoot Stance 1, the one where you go forward, this 3 attack, boom, automatic screw on normal hit. That's a single hit that results in a screw attack. The hop kick is 2 hits, so those are going to be slightly different combo options. The distance will vary toward the end, so we'll cover all those details later on. But needless to say, these two both cause a screw attack on normal hit. Her hop kick automatically goes into a screw attack. Can't do anything about it. Most of her other launches come in the form of crumple stuns to the ground. 3-2 is the first one among that. What's kind of cool about this move, it has a just frame input. If you time it just as it kicks them in the face, you get that blue spark, which does 2 more damage. Doesn't affect the combo at all, but you just get 2 bonus damage out of the deal. It's kind of cool. You'll get used to that timing, right? Exactly as it makes contact, you press it. When you're moving around, you get a clean sidestep. You'll feel it. You'll get used to it all. And if you don't get it, it's no big deal. You just miss out on damage. So 3-2 is your basic, like, high damage launcher. 17 frames isn't slow, but it isn't fast either, right? So you're not going to use this on block punish. You're going to use this as your primary, like, whiff punish tool. 3-2 causes a crumple stun, as does 1+2 when you hold it in. If you don't hold that all the way in, you get a different knockdown. You have to hold this the entire time to get the combo out of it. So that's not super practical, but I suppose you could set people up for it that aren't paying attention. I don't know. And if they do block it, I'm trying to find a situation to let them block it here. Just do this, and they get up. There we go. That block is like plus 17 or something. It's a huge amount of block stun. So if they do kind of just like stand up into it, you're not too bad, but this is kind of a weird thing to try to mess with people. I don't know. It's there, but if you catch it, combo starter. Heaven and Earth, one of your double stances. If you do Catfoot 1, the one that goes forward, and then press forward again, you get Heaven and Earth. From here, Heaven and Earth 1, the natural combo starter. Sidestep 4 also does the same. Slightly different crumple, you'll notice. They follow the ground, but at slightly different angles, different animations. So these can be, again, a little bit different combos as you get from forward, 4 to 3. Crumple stun to the ground. Forward, 3 is this. Forward, 4 is that. But if you do 4 to 3 real quick, she face one into the other, and that one is a launcher. Crumple to the ground, full combo, etc. She has a couple of airborne launchers, like as I mentioned, forward 3, kicks them into the air, the more conventional Tekken combo system you might be used to. Her while standing 2 does the same thing. This one actually turns out to be one of her worst combos, because the really cool stance stuff isn't going to work here. Recovery's just not good enough. See how high she punched them with this attack, versus while standing 2. But it is a more conventional combo path, it's just not one of her better ones. Down forward 4, same deal, pops him into the air. You can combo from that situation. It just doesn't hit him super high into the air. Down forward 4 is pretty good. This move is excellent on block as well. The only other thing worth mentioning in this category is 1, 2, 4. Same kick. That's the same animation. So if you hit him with that, but the 4 alone, that has to be the 4th hit by itself, like that. You can combo from there. If anything else works, that doesn't work. So once in a blue moon, you might catch that. As I mentioned, 1, 2, 4 has a counter hit property, but if you do 1, 2, 4, and they somehow get hit by that, it's a launcher. So good luck with that. But that's it for normal launchers. So for the most part, you're going to use that up forward 4 hop kick as your 15 frame punish. You're going to use 3, 2 when you're going to learn how to do that just frame as your primary whiff punisher. Once you get people starting to fear everything, that's when you can go for Heaven and Earth stuff. That's when you can go for weird setups and all that stuff. But for the most part, that's pretty much the 2 you're going to use. Forward 3 has nice range, because it's a forward and that little hop. That's actually good for punishing some interesting stuff. And while standing 2 as a good block punisher. Those are most you're going to use, but the rest are there to just add a little bit more damage potential to the situations you might be in. If you happen to get all the way into Heaven and Earth, you got a launcher, right? Stuff like that. So let's move on to counter hit launchers, which kind of fill the same role. These are things that are kind of tough to plan, to like go for these on purpose. However, if you just use all of your tools, if you move from stance into this, into that, and you try to use everything you have, when you catch them making an inevitable mistake, then you know you have combos from those. The simplest version she has of counter hit launchers is a Magic 4. The funny thing about it though is you can see how it pops them off the ground a little bit. You can't just combo from there. There's no way to pick them up. Nothing is going to work there. But she does have 4-2 and 4-3. Both of these will get her a combo. If you do 4-2, you can see how they just float in the air a little bit and you can combo from there. The 2 is necessary to pick them up out of that little pop-up and then finish your combo. 4-3 causes the screw attack right away. The 4 pops them up and the 3 tail spins and then you just finish it from there. So she has a Magic 4 with 2 different combo paths. Keep in mind, this is not a universally spammable Magic 4 because they can duck that 2, and that 3 is -10 on block to mid. So if you're going to just throw this stuff out all day, they can punish you for doing this, and they might duck that. So you kind of want to use this to get off me, keep away button situations. And in that regard, it's 13 frames. It's not one of the fastest. So it's a different Magic 4. It's just not the best Magic 4. But it has some variety to it if you need that sort of thing. You'll see this character has tons of mid versus high string options that encourage them to duck, encourage them to press buttons at the wrong time and stuff like that. So 4-2 and 4-3 kind of fit in that pretty well. Next up is forward 4-3-4. That third hit is a counter hit, causes a screw attack. And that's one you're probably also never going to hit people with. Forward 4-3-1 is that mid. Forward 4-3-4 is that high. If you're in the middle of that, they're not going to press buttons again. They're either going to sidestep or they're going to duck. If they think it's going to be this, they're going to duck or sidestep. If they think it's this, they're going to stand there and punish you. They don't need to ever press a button in the middle. Unless you start doing this stuff all day and you never do the follow-up, right? This is -10. So if you're doing this and they get ready to punish that -10 and you happen to do that hit, you'll counter hit them. But honestly, I wouldn't just go around doing this all day at -10 on the hope that they do press a button and you finally catch them with one. That's there, but it's a bit much. You got plenty of other stuff that you could throw out that you don't need to take that sort of risk with. The other automatic screw attack she has is Cat Foot 2, the one that goes backwards. Cat Foot 2-3. Counter hit, screw attack. This is similar to the first one. So what makes it kind of hard to remember sometimes is because they both have the same name, Cat Foot Stance 1 and Cat Foot Stance 2. I really hate that. That's still making me crazy. Cat Foot Stance 1, the one that goes forward. 3 is a natural hit launcher, screw attack. Cat Foot Stance 2, the one that goes backwards, counter hit launcher, automatic screw attack. So they kind of seem similar. Needless to say, if you're out there doing your stance thing and you press 3, be ready for it to cause a screw attack, right? You'll get it and not even realize it happens sometimes. So they both do that, but just keep in mind that they are similar traits of different stances. But for the most part, if you forget which stance you're going to end in, you do this, and you don't know which stance is coming, 3 has got a good chance of leading to a screw attack for you. A couple of crumple stun counter hits. 1-1 is a good one. Most of her follow-up opportunities are from the opponent crumpling to the ground. So she has a couple counter hits that result in the same. 1-1, if the second hit by itself is a counter hit, does it. Same with down forward 1-3. Normal hit just knocks down, but if this is a counter hit, combo starter. And like I said, she has a ton of these mid versus high things. Down forward 1-2, down forward 1-3. They want to try to duck this, well, they start getting hit by that. They want to step this, etc., etc. This one, being -13 on block, isn't one you want to do every day. This is more like an icing on the cake type of attack, right? You're kind of messing with them, you're moving around, you're catching them with the low pokes, you're doing this, whatever. Kind of do this a couple times, you make them antsy. As soon as you get used to it, then you let this one rip when you know you've got them, right? When you know, okay, I'm going to do this twice and they're going to try to punch me. Go ahead and then let it go. And other than that, it's not something you do all day, but it is there. If you think you've got the good setup, you have an opponent ready to bite on your setup, go for it. The same thing works with back 2-3. If you get hit by the second hit on counter hit, combo starter. However, in this case, this move is safe. Back 2-3 is safe on block. She has the same paradigm though. Back 2-1 is a high, back 2-3 is high mid. So they want to start ducking, they start getting hit by mids. You just throw out a single attack all day, throw this, And all of a sudden, boom, counter hit. That's how it works. So this one is much better in terms of you can just do this all day and get away with it, but it doesn't have the range. This one has very good range for what that's worth. If you have a character like Negan that's trying to hit you with bad stuff, I guess, all the way out there, you could do that, but there's lots of stuff. You got plenty of counter hit stuff. You don't have to force it. And like I said, a lot of these are things you can't necessarily plan. They just come out through the natural course of using your offense and getting, you know, to the whole toolkit. Everything has a cool purpose. You'll get rewards whenever they make the right mistakes. Just kind of go for it sometimes. The last one is cat foot stance 1, 2. Crumple stun launcher. The forward cat foot 2. Normal hit just looks like nothing. Counter hit, full combo. Also coming out of cat foot 1, the forward stance, is 4. We saw this earlier, how on normal hit, you get a guaranteed stomp after that, right? 41 damage. This move is even plus 8 on block. This is a fantastic move. It's mid, it's plus on block. Normal hit, you get a follow-up. Counter hit, you get a whole combo from this thing. This move is great. You just have to get into stance and let them sit for it. It's a very slow move out of stance. When they're looking for situations to try to beat you out, they can beat this move with like their own magic 4 jab or whatever it is. But this move on counter hit, full combo as well. So 2 options out of cat foot 1. The 2 is a counter hit launcher, and the 4 is a counter hit launcher. Pouncing Tiger, Stalking Wolf. The stance that is available from cat backwards. Cat foot 2, Pouncing Tiger. So you do the backwards cat stance and press forward. This is Pouncing Tiger. And this 4 attack is a low that knocks them to the ground on counter hit. Combo starter. And the same thing is true of Heaven and Earth 2. You just do the opposite. You do the forward cat stance and press forward again. This time your 2 attack is a low that on counter hit is a combo starter. So that's it. Those are the counter hit launchers. And like I said, some of them are kind of tough to work in. Down forward 1-3. You don't want to do that all day. That's going to get you in trouble punishment-wise. If they know you're going to go for lows all the time, you don't want to, every time you go into a double stance, they're going to predict low. You don't want to do that. You don't want to just go for this low every time. You want to go for this low every time. If you're just doing your thing, you're keeping it fresh, you're mixing them up, you're moving around, you're doing the dance, you'll get the rewards as they come. Just don't be afraid to do stuff, mix it up, and use your arsenal. They'll make mistakes. Just be ready with this information at hand. Okay, I'm going to press 3, and that's probably going to result in a screw attack. You'll be ready when it does. So those are all of your combo starters on normal hit and on counter hit. So let's take a look at the pieces that go into the full combos thereafter, rather than just memorizing sequences, which is what you'll end up doing. You're basically going to have like 3 combos that you have memorized, but I think it's important for you to learn where these come from, because not everything is that simple. You're going to run into a wall or a side axis or something like that, so you want to be able to adapt your combo. It's much more important to be able to change the combo up in the middle to get that extra bit to the wall or to not mistime it or something like that. So I think having that flexibility is the most important, and you'll get that if you learn your combo pieces. That way, okay, I know that wall is coming. Rather than do the screw attack, let me just do like a 1-2 jab, and that'll carry the rest of the way, for example, right? So if you learn the building blocks, I think it's much easier than to just memorize what order they go in for normal combos. So I want to take a look at how combos work for the most part. And a lot of combos in this game break down to your first hit of the juggle, something you do next, and then your screw attack. And then after the screw attack is your ender, right? Whatever you got left. Whether it's a move that's destined to be a combo ender or just some wall carry, whatever it is. That's kind of the way I like to think about it. Because the first hit is defined by the type of launcher that you have. Like, for example, I mentioned forward 3, boots them in the air nice and high. While standing 2 does not. So those are different openers. For example, I can do back 3-1 here, but off of while standing 2, I cannot do that. So the first hit is defined by your type of launcher. And then from that point, you can kind of generally just mix and match a lot of pieces. And then we'll have, like I said, specific 3 combos at the end that you'll want to learn. But you can see how it works and then make a better judgment. Oh, I like this one better than that one. Or I can never land this version, but I can always land that. I'm going to use that instead. Here's where you get that set of knowledge from. So the first hit, if you can do it, a lot of these combos you're going to see is this nice little uppercut. 25 damage is pretty good for this tiny, innocuous little move. However, you can see for me to do that, I'm switching stances twice. I'm doing the shuffle hands, and then I hit you with that. This is not going to work off of this, obviously. I do not have time for that. Even putting them in the air, I don't have time. This one is only valid. Whoops. This is only going to work on a crumple stun. Like that. Right? I got plenty of time off of this move to shuffle hands, pick up, and combo from there. So, Pouncing Tiger Stalking Wolf 2 is a good first hit, but it only works on certain combos. And then from there, blah, blah, blah. The other first hit that you're going to see, the most universal one is back 3-1. Back 3-1 works on damn near anything. Kick him in the air, that works. Your crumple stuns, that still works. That one's going to work a lot of the time. So that's pretty much what you're going to focus on, is if you can do the shuffle hands, you get some better combos. And if you can't, back 3-1 covers all your bases. Now for the next hit, this can vary a little bit. If you're going to do a single hit, if you're going to do PT2, then you've only used up one hit, you can get, let's say, 4 afterwards. Most of your screw attacks are going to be 2 hits, a 2-hit screw attack. So let's do something like this, and then do back 2-3. Back 2-3 is very nice, it's quick, and it still floats them higher into the air. So if you're going to do PT2, back 2-3, and then your 2-hit screw attack and you're done. But if you did back 3-1 as your ender, notice that back 3-1, 2-3 is not going to work. You change this up a little bit. So in that situation, since you've already used up 2 hits, your next best option is this. Down back 3-4. And this is only the case because you notice back 3-1 pops them higher in the air again. That leaves them on the ground, off the ground just enough. That works. Down back 3+4 looks slow, but it works. So there you've got 2 hits, and you've got 2 more hits left to go for your screw attack. So these are your basic building blocks. PT2, if it's possible, on crumple stuns, you have that one. And if not, back 3-1 is your typical ender. If you just did a single hit opener, then back 2-3 is your middle part. And if you didn't, then down back 3-4 is your middle part. You can have some different opening moves. For example, down forward 1+2 works right here. This move does a nice chunk of damage you can't get off of every particular knockdown just because of its angle. Certain combos let you get that as your first hit. And again, we'll cover the variations that do so a little bit later. So then your screw attacks, there's basically 3 that are kind of interchangeable. 4-3 is the simplest one. 4-3, boom, 2 hits, easy. The problem with this one is it's a high. That 4 kick is a high, and a combo that's hitting closer to the ground is going to drop. So instead you have down forward 4-3. Basically the same thing, only it starts with a mid, which is going to hit lower to the ground, works in longer combos. And the cost is 1 damage. That's going to do 1 damage less than just 4-3. However, we also have a different option we can do there. Down forward 2 is another mid, and when that makes contact, automatically puts you in cat foot 2. Cat foot 2, 3 is a screw attack. So basically all you're pressing is down forward 2, 3. Down forward 2, 3. That works too, and you get your 1 point of damage back. So that is generally the go-to ender. Down forward 2, 3. Because it's the max damage, and it's a mid. But again, if you feel uncomfortable hitting it, this is kind of a flat mid attack. It can be a little tricky sometimes. This is sometimes easier. So these are mostly interchangeable. Depends on what you need, and when I show you the combos in full, I'm going to use this one most often just because it is the most universal. However, I think this one has issues against small characters too. Down forward 2-3 does not work as well against small characters. Down forward 4-3 might be your better option there. So you got to practice these, get familiar with them, and then realize what happens when I practice my combos against Ling because the timing is different. Oh wait, this doesn't work at all? Well, let me practice this one. So the combos I want to show you should be pretty universal, but I do not want to sit here and test every weird little hitbox and small body character in the game. Just be warned, if it doesn't, switch to one of these other options. One of these combinations will work, but for the most part, these should be pretty universal. If down forward 2-3 doesn't work, switch to down forward 4-3. You should be fine. So once you decided your combo starter and then how you do your screw attack, all you have left is your ender. And you're pretty much going to use the same ender every time, which is back 3-4, quarter circle 1+2. Let me show you this in the move list, just because this is a little bit unorthodox for Tekken inputs. I want to be sure you're getting it right in the first place. Right here. You get blue sparks when you do it correctly. If you just press buttons, if I just do back 3, 4, 1+2, I get that. Nothing fancy. But if I do the quarter circle input, blue sparks. You get more damage out of it. So totally worth doing. Leo has a lot of these, but just doing the correct input, you get bonus damage out of it. This is very much a Virtua Fighter type of thing. Just frame inputs get you better versions of the moves, and this is another one of these cases. Back 3, 4, quarter circle 1+2. I don't know if it necessarily affects the hitbox or size of the move, or its speed or whatever, but as long as you get used to doing this, back 3, 4, quarter circle, boom. Back 3, 4, quarter circle, boom. It'll be pretty easy to end your combos. You have time to dash up, and that. Your other choice, which is very, very inconsistent, and I can't do it well at all, is the other move that's kind of like this, the 3-hit just frame inputs, which is right here. Look at that one. Where's this move coming from? That's not a Tekken move. It's quarter circle forward 2, and then a 2, and then back forward forward 1+2. See, in this case, I have to press something to get it. If I just do straight buttons, quarter circle 2, 2, and then 1+2, it doesn't work. I have to do back forward 1+2. But if you do back forward forward and get an extra one in there, this is a lot like Law DSS. If you're a Law player, you know exactly this feeling. Blue sparks. You get extra damage from doing it. So it's not too hard to learn. The fun part comes in when you gotta delay that shit. When you finally get used to squeezing back forward forward in the middle of a string, then you gotta learn to delay it at the wall combo. That gets a little bit tricky. However, that's your alternate combo ender. I have a very, very hard time landing that on most situations. Not to mention back 3, 4 has even better wall carry and it's easier to run up. So 95% of the time, this is your ender. Back 3, 4, quarter circle both. You get the just frame, you get more damage. If you get the correct input, I want to call it a just frame. If you do it correctly, you get the better damage. Okay. So those are the tools you use in combos. Let's put them all together. And I have this section organized in such a way that there are basically 3 categories or groups of launchers. Toward the end are some that are specific. While standing 2 is specific. This combo is different from the rest of them just because of its trajectory. There's like 2 or 3 of those. But other than that, her other like 15 launchers there are, they fit into 3 groups. So the first group I'm going to show you are the airborne launchers. The ones where that kick them in the air, like forward, forward 3, just boots them high into the sky, or down, forward, 4, 4, which is low to the ground. All of these, I'm going to show you the basic universal combo. And what I mean by that is the next group of launchers can all use this combo. Basically, the 15 basic launchers can all use this combo route. However, some of them can use better ones. So we're going to start with this one. The basic combo that applies to everything, but the airborne launchers, they have to use this combo because they don't work with the better versions later on. Just as I talked about doing the shuffle hands launcher, obviously you don't have time to do that when they're in the air, right? That's reserved for different combos later on. So the first group of airborne launchers, you can see from the list on the screen. Forward, forward 3, kicks them in the air. Down, forward, 4, 4, a little bit off the ground. 1, 2, 4, 4. If you happen to catch them that way, same thing. Counter hit on cat foot 1, 4, up in the air. And counter hit on pouncing tiger 4, airborne launcher. All of these follow the same combo path. You don't have access to the big one, so you have to stick to the universal one. And that path is back 3, 1 to start, the way we talked about up above. This is pretty much what you're going to use most of the time. Back 3, 1, but your next step is not the usual one. You have to go from here to down back 3 plus 4. This move seems slow, but it'll work. So back 3, 1, down back 3 plus 4, and then your 2-hit screw attack. And I generally choose down forward 2, 3, because it's not that hard to do, but if you're having trouble with it, you can usually swap it out for 4, 3, or down forward 4, 3, as I said. So that whole thing looks like this. Launcher, back 3, 1, down back 3, 4, down forward 2, 3, screw attack. And then the combo ender is pretty much going to be the same ender you use wherever possible. It's got great wall carry, great damage, etc. So as you can see, the whole combo does just a crap ton of damage, and this is your basic universal combo. Your back 3-1 is your starter choice for the universal combo, and the rest of it is this middle hit is the weird one, but just get used to it. It's fine. And then your screw attack, right? They're all going to end the same screw attack. A 2-hit screw attack. Down forward 2-3, down forward 4-3, whichever one it might be. They're all going to end the same way. And then after the screw attack, they're all going to end with back 3-4, and then that. That's pretty much how they're all going to look. They just have a slightly different opening based on the combo. And as I said, every combo can use that one. So if you learn that one, you're done. But let's move on to the next category, which are crumple stun launchers, like 3-2, when they float to the ground. And again, I'll show you right here, back 3-1, that still works. The universal combo is just fine. There's no issues with using it here. See? No problems. However, we can do better. As I mentioned, Pouncing Tiger 2 is a nice little move if you have time to do it. And this is where you have time. So now, since you're only using one hit as your first one, you can do 4 more hits. And those 4 hits are simple. A back 2-3, 4-3. Let's do that, right? Let's talk about the basic version for a second, because this one works. 4-3 doesn't always work because it's a high, as I mentioned, but let's just talk about it here in this case. Back 2-3, 4-3. Nice and simple. No problems there. You can substitute this with the other one as we talked about. Down forward 2-3 does the same thing. So those are kind of interchangeable, whichever one you feel mostly works in all of these situations, right? So that's a little bit better. You're getting more damage out of that. The crumple stun and the Pouncing Tiger 2, back 2-3, 4-3. Cool. Now there is one that's even harder to do. This one, I honestly don't know if it's worth most people to learn. It's about 3 damage more, and it's not super duper hard, but it's hard enough. And basically all you're doing is, instead of doing back 2-3 in the middle, you're going to do forward 2, 2. Just like that. Forward 2 in a stance, 2. So the whole combo with the extended version would look like this. Shuffle hands into the 2. There's your forward 2 in the stance. There's your down forward 2 in the stance with the screw attack. And then your combo ender. So as you can see in those ones, that is a bit more damage, but that's definitely harder to do. The recovery off PT2, you need to get forward 2 exactly in there without being too early or too late. So if you don't want to learn how to do that, you don't have to. Back 2-3 is way easier and only costs you 3 damage. These combos, they start with 3-2 is the one you're going to use most of the time. 1+2 when you hold it in is the same crumple stun. Heaven and Earth 1. Counter hit on the second hit of 1-1. There's that same crumple. Same with counter hit down forward 1-3. And counter hit on back 2-3. All results in the same crumple stun. And your counter hit on catfoot 1-2. All of these moves, all of these launchers can now use this particular combo as well as the universal one mentioned before. All these crumple stuns allow you access to the shuffle hands opener. And so the final category of launchers are just 2. They are forward 4-3, and they are sidestep 4. You'll notice in this case, I don't have time for shuffle hands. That hits them grounded and flips them over. I've not quite the time to do that, so that's out of the question. However, I can do down forward 1+2. That's a nice little opening hit that works pretty well here. This is also a slightly different one. Again, it resembles the hard version from above. It's not that hard. Down forward 1+2, then you immediately do down forward 2, 2, and down forward 2, 3, right? Down forward 2 in the stance on hit. It does its own thing. So you just have to think of it as down forward 2, 2. Or think of the screw attack as down forward 2, 3. You don't even bother remembering the stance. That just is what it is. So basically all this is down forward 1+2, down forward 2, 2, down forward 2, 3. So the whole thing together looks like this. There's your first hit, down forward 2 in the stance, 2, down forward 2 in the stance, 3, and then your general combo ender. So those are the last category fall down stun launchers. Just because you can't do shuffle hands, they're in a group by themselves. So you can do the universal one. You can do back 3-1 if you want to, as we said, but you do have access to a third different combo path that gets you a little bit more damage that way. And that is the bulk of what you're going to use. Those basic 15 launchers are your normal set of launchers. You can do that all day. There are 3 specific ones that I want to show you, and they're not that different. They just have a different first hit, basically. The rest is the same. The first one is while standing 2. We talked about this air path is a little bit different. All you're going to do here is your first hit is back 1 plus 2. That's it. Back 1 plus 2, back 2, 3, 4, 3, right? Just take that first universal combo from the very beginning, and since back 3, 1 doesn't work, you just do back 1 plus 2. So that whole combo looks like this. Airborne, back 1 plus 2, and then back 2, 3, 4, 3, and you're in. This also has another variation where if you can do a forward 2 segment in there, that works. There's your forward 2 in the stance, and a 2. There's your down forward 2 in the stance, and then the 3, and your combo ender. But that's it. Just because that has a different first hit, that's the only variation. The rest of it works the same. Counter hit 4-2, pretty much the same story. Because you have to do that 4-2, you get the same deal. You're just going to do back 2, 3, 4, 3, and finish it from there. No big deal other than the slightly variation of the first hit because it's already used up. And the last one worth talking about by itself is counter hit Heaven and Earth 2, because you have to do it while standing 1. Leaves you crouched, you do it while standing 1, the rest is the same. Back 2, 3, 4, 3. No issues there. You could try to do the different versions of it, but that's good enough. Since you're not, the only way you can do this, the down back 3 plus 4, this big kick, the only time you can do that is if you did back 3, 1. That's the only way that works. If that doesn't work, then pretty much all of your combos are back 2, 3, 4, 3. That's it. Back 2, 3, 4, 3. Unless you can do something unique. Otherwise, back 2, 3, 4, 3, and you're good. So the last group of launchers are the ones that cause an automatic screw attack. Those are the only ones that really break the formula. And actually, I think in some cases that makes that easier, because all you're going to do is just one of those pieces, and then your ender. There are 3 launchers that cause a screw attack in 1 hit. Cat foot 1, 3. You can see these on the list there. Counter hit, cat foot 2, 3. As well as counter hit, forward 4, 3, 4. Whoops. That automatic screw attack in 1 hit. You've not used up an airborne hit. You have your full combo available. So all you do for these is you run up and do your down forward 1 plus 2, because that was a nice grip of damage. And then guess what? Back 2, 3. That rears its head again. And from this point, just do your combo ender. In this case, it's much easier to do quarter circle 2, 2, back forward, forward. I don't know what to call that. Actually, I'm going to go look it up right now. Blossom Fury. The harder ender. That is Blossom Fury. I'm just going to start calling it that. So basically all these are down forward 1 plus 2, back 2, 3, and then Blossom Fury. It looks like this. Screw attack, 1 combo part, and then directly into your ender, and that's it. That's more than enough. For an automatic screw to still reach 75 damage, that's pretty good. That's definitely solid. And like I said before, anytime you're going through stances and you don't know where you are, just remember every time you press that 3, there's a good chance it leads to an automatic screw attack. This is your combo. That's the only one you got to know. The last variation are 2-hit screw attacks. We talked about her hop kick causes a hit in the air. So that uses up one of your juggle hits. You don't quite get the same thing. On top of that, when you connect with your up forward 4, you're automatically in cat foot 2. Okay, well, what do I do there? Well, that's easy. Press forward and shuffle hands. Now you get access to your pouncing tiger 2. So you just do this, press forward, and then 2, and you get that little bit of a pop-up. Because it is an extra hit, it can be a little bit tricky. So what I recommend doing, instead of doing Blossom Fury, what's the other one called? Birds and Beasts. I would stick to that. This little mini version of a combo looks like this. Screw attack, shuffle hands, and then just do a 2-jab, and then do Birds and Beasts follower. No problem, 60 damage. If you want to do the advanced version of the combo, you're doing shuffle hands, then you're doing back 2, 3, and then you're doing Blossom Fury, but I find this really, really hard to do. I cannot land this one on a controller, and I don't want to. You know, if you can do it, go for it. What's going to happen here is the middle hit of Blossom Fury is going to miss. Right, the middle hit is going to whiff, but then the third hit will still catch them. I cannot get this timing down on a D-pad to save my life. So if you want to practice it, you can. The notation is right there. I wouldn't worry about it personally. I'm good with the 60 damage. It is what it is. But that does exist, unless they decide to change something. You can go for that. But that's a 2-hit screw attack and forces you into stance. The other 2-hit screw attack is counter hit 4-3. This one is easier. You skip the shuffle hands and you go right to the meaty stuff. Back 2-3, Blossom Fury. Just like that. 67, no problems there. I am totally good with all of that. Well, I have to stress myself to find anything else. So Blossom Fury, I think, is a little bit easier to do in these combos since you've already used up your screw attack, because it hits lower to the ground than Birds and Beasts does. Your basic ender, the back 3-4, doesn't work as well mid-juggle as Blossom Fury does. So in these ones where you've already used up your screw attack and you're doing these right out of combo, I think Blossom Fury is much easier to do in that situation. So that is it for your full combo lesson. Several pieces. Your first hit really is determined by the launcher you did. And then if you did the universal combo, you have a slightly different version. And if you do anything else, back 2-3, 4-3 is basically your combo path, right? That's all you need to know. So as long as you realize how they're built, I think you can say, oh, I forgot to do the good version. I missed it. Just do back 2-3, 4-3. That'll pop right in your mind when you need it. And when you get into a match, if you realize the wall is a little bit further away, you could switch it up, or you could cut a piece of it out, etc., whatever it might be. So that is your basic combo structure. And again, you can memorize the 3 categorized combo paths for each set of launchers, or you can stick to the universal one. It doesn't matter. There's a couple little distinct ones you have to remember, but they're very, very easy. Once you get used to it, like, oh yeah, that one left me crouching, I forgot to do this first. It really starts coming naturally. Once the bulk of the combo is built into your muscle memory, the little variation pops up very quickly in your mind. Now let's take a look at the last phase of combos, which is getting to the wall. When you're in a combo in neutral open space and the wall is close, you usually want to get them there the rest of the way the best you can. And it turns out your normal combo ender, back 3-4, 1+2, that's the best wall carry move that you have. It's very easy to do. It gets them right to the wall, no questions asked, you run up to it, super easy. You really can't ask for anything better than that. The only other real combination might be something like just taking out the last hit. Like you just do back 3-4, right? If without the third hit, it's enough to get you there. But this move usually works to the point it's so fast that third hit is not going to cost you. The only judgment you have to make is, am I going to squeeze it too close to the wall? Usually not. So for the most part, back 3-4, quarter circle 1+2, Birds and Beasts is your best wall carry option from combos out in neutral. When it comes to wall bounces, this character has 3, which is kind of rare. Most characters don't have anything like that. Down back 1+2 is pretty straightforward though. It's mid, it's got power crush property, and it bounces the wall. So a lot of characters have that. They're always like -12, 14 on block. So this is pretty much the same situation there. She also has while standing 3-2, which is 14 frames, is pretty good. That's an excellent tool to have. In certain situations, that becomes a 14 frame launcher. Her third one is Catfoot 2, 2-3-1. And I honestly don't know how you're supposed to hit people with this. Even on counter hit, that string does not connect. So I guess if you just kind of like start throwing out Catfoot 2 all day, and I don't know, get them into doing something stupid, I really don't know how you're supposed to hit people with this, to tell you the truth. It doesn't connect all on its own. If you get the third hit, the 3 and the 1 will counter hit. I don't know. It's kind of useless, but it's there. If it happens to hit, be ready for it. But that's it otherwise. So as far as your combo off of this wall bounce, if you're very far away, you've got some cool options. Right off the bat, the first thing that comes to mind is Birds and Beasts. Back 3-4, quarter circle 1+2 works pretty well here. Sometimes you gotta watch that distance. It can be a little bit tricky. If you're too far away, it doesn't quite connect the right way. So for the most part, this works well, but if you're at the very, very tip, it can be a little trickier. As is my other favorite option, forward 4-3-4. If you're just the wrong distance, you kind of get there at the wrong time, so you got to be careful with it. You got to experiment and get used to whatever you feel the most comfortable doing. But if you're at that right sweet spot and you can just do the old bread and butter move, that works very well. If you're a little bit closer than that, you would want to just simplify it to something like down forward 4-2. I like that one a lot too. That's nice damage. It's simple. It gets there. It's impossible to mistime it. That one works in all those mid ranges out here. Down forward 4-2. Very reliable. If you're super duper close, basically you just want to stick them right back to the wall and do it without having to do anything fancy. And I would just do back 4. Back 4 is really good for just one hit, stick right back to the wall. And if you get them to go sideways like that automatically, then you can get the screw attack from it. So back 4 is pretty good for doing that. You still get your normal combo. So when you get to the wall, there are tons of combo options. But if you start at the wall, let's take a look at how you splat them to the wall. And there's a whole list of moves that will cause wall splat on hit. That'll be in the Google Doc in the description. There's going to be 20 some of these moves. I'm not going to cover all of them, but pretty much everything you would suspect. You know, down, forward, 1, 3, hits like that, right? It's pretty common sense. The ones you're going to use the most often are forward 2, 4, because it's 12 frames. If they like do a get up kick or something like that, that'll punish it. Boom, wall splat. It's a pretty good option. The next best one, I think, is forward 3, because it's got super good range. You can kind of back off a little bit and still tag them with that. It's a safe mid. I like this a lot as a wall splat move. If you give them too much space, they can get out of there. You're supposed to keep right on them and don't give them an inch to breathe. But if you kind of, you know, finish it out here, that works pretty well. Forward 3 is very nice. I also like the full crouch element of her game. From a full crouch position, the down, forward 2, elbow is a nice way to resplat, and while standing 1, 4. Those are both mid options. And when she's here, if you want to go low, you have this, which is just going to annoy the crap out of me even further. Getting spiked right back to the ground at the corner and stuff, it's going to make him crazy. If you remember a certain point when Leo could just do like the low sweep or the jumping orbital thing, she would just do them over and over again, because every time she got one, it would guarantee a second one, and then she'd mix you up again with the same thing. So if you have a full crouch mid like that into a resplat, or just full crouch low into more shenanigans, that's going to go a long way. So I think those are the primary ones: forward 2, 4, forward 3, and then the full crouch options. While standing 1, 4, full crouch, down, forward 2, or just hit them with the low, full crouch, down, forward 3. I think those are primary. Other than that, your stances are full of moves that resplat. What you're going to get a lot is a knockdown situation at the wall where you go right into one of your stances to mix them up again. So if you end up in stance right on top of them like this, almost everything you do will re-wall splat them. From cat foot 1, forward 3 plus 4, your 1 wall splats. So does your 3. If you press forward, go to heaven and earth, 1 plus 2 wall splats, and that also wall splats on block, if you remember. Heaven and earth 1 plus 2 is plus 14 on block. You can wall splat them with this, even if they block that. Cat foot 2, the one that goes backwards. There's your 1 wall splats. There's your 1 plus 2. Oh, that wall splats. And so does 3. You can go into that second stance. PTSW, the 1 does it. And the 2. All kind of wall splats. So if you're going to wake them up and go right into stance, any button you do is going to wall splat them. Those are what you really thrive on, is those stance Oki mix-ups. Outside of those, forward 3 is your go-to in your full crouch game. I think that about covers your wall splatting. If it were a breakable wall, all of these would break said wall when they hit. The only exception is if you get to the wall in mid combo, right? If they hit the wall up in the air like that, the only general wall splat move in the list that won't work is forward 4, 3, 4, just because it goes over their head. They'll tend to fall under it. Otherwise, this forward 3, your forward 2, 4, all of those would break the wall during high splats or feet on the ground wall splats. They both work the same way. So, the combos you get when they are stuck to the wall, whether it's high or low. The first one worth talking about is the easy one. Forward 1 plus 2, 3, 2, 1. It's easy to do, works well, no issues there. The problem is this is like the lowest damage option there is. That's fine, but it's not a ton of damage. For as much as she pummels you, this doesn't actually hurt that bad. This is the lowest damage option you could really get. The best damage option is Blossom Fury. And delaying it just right to get that grounded hit, this is kind of hard to do. Now you can see 42 damage, but the scaling isn't quite right. Now you can see that last hit now does 47 damage, and the scaling says 50. That's because it makes contact with the opponent as they hit the ground, scaling resets. So that is the max damage, but that is really hard to do. You spend all this time learning how to do back, forward, forward in the middle of that string, and then you got to learn how to delay it and not miss your window. So that's kind of hard. But if once you get that rhythm down, once you have it nailed, that's your best damage option. Right behind that is your other combo ender, Birds and Beasts. That works well too, and again, you have the same delay potential there. Now you can see under delay, scaling says 50% and damage goes up to 45. That one's definitely easier to do, but still not super easy. So you don't have to master these. They're the best damage, but that's not necessarily all that you want. Some variation is also important. If you look at forward 4-3-1, that causes your flip over. It's a little bit less damage, but you get that flip over knockdown Oki situation. If they stand up into plus frame attacks, they're just gonna get smashed all over again. Having that flip over, which kind of forces them to tech roll, works really well. If they don't tech roll, you get to hit them on the ground for free. There's a lot of really interesting stuff you can do to people when they're like that. Punch them on the ground, etc. Tons of stuff. So you're forcing them to make a choice with that one, with the flip over tech. That's a really good option too. Not just pure damage, it's full of potential. The other two worth mentioning will lead you directly into your stances. What you do is 3-2 and then forward 2, or you can do 3-2 and down forward 2, because each one of those on hit will lead you into a different stance. So the first one will look like this. Right? 39 damage is just a little bit lower, but I'm automatically in cat foot 1. Right? So if you do things like that, you wake up, they go right into another mid that's +8 on block, and they get frustrated to no end. You start throwing lows in there, you start doing the double stances, you swift into the heaven and earth and start getting with the frame traps, nutty stuff. And the other one is down forward 2, because that leads you into the other stance, cat foot 2 stance automatically. And again, you can go into parting wolf, whatever the hell that's called, tons of options there. So those two might be the best value overall, just because you can go right into your stance mix-ups and they stand up directly into it, ready for another one. The other thing worth mentioning is resplat. If she just backdashes and does back 1+2, sticks into the wall again, very easy. Right? Very simple to do. If you get this a little bit off to the side, you know, you can kind of get combos that way and change it up a little bit. Oh, that was unintended. But see what I mean? If you get it sideways, you can squeeze that combo back out of it. Otherwise, just a simple backdash, back 1+2, resplats them. Very easy to do. There's almost no consequences to do it. All that matters is if it's a feet on the ground wall splat. Obviously, if they're in the air, they don't slump forward, so that doesn't work. So a grounded wall splat, got a very easy resplat technique. So the last thing to look at would be floor breaks. Once you stick them to the wall, if you're in abandoned temple, you can smack them down through the floor to do this. A bunch of ways to do it. Again, not going to bother with going over all of them. The simplest one, well, the two best ones, let's say that, are forward 4-3-1, your flip over knockdown. That does nice damage, breaks the floor underneath you. But if you're worried about like those 3 hits landing off axis or something missing or whatever, if you run up in the combo and you get there too late, you can do it in 2 hits with back 1-2. Definitely less damage, but it's simpler in that case. Or if you really need it, just a simple down 1. That'll smack them right through the floor. You could also do this with your up forward 3 if you want some style points. You're going to lose a bunch of damage from these ones. Forward 4-3-1 is absolutely the option you want there. But like I said, just in case you're worried about your axis or whatever, you have simpler options. You can also do these back 4-4 sequences, but you get weird stuff like that. The camera wants to flip your position. Down 3, 4, 4, 4. Those things can break the floor, but it's a very weird circumstance. I wouldn't want to try them. It's just because when you make contact, they're not quite grounded the way they're supposed to be. It doesn't always work the way you want it to. They are there, but for the most part, those are not one of the ones you rely on. Forward 4-3-1 is definitely your best option. And as you land near the wall again, back 4 that you used for your closed wall bounce. That back 4 is going to smack them right to the wall. Plenty of time for the rest of your combo. So I think that's it. I think that's all the combo mechanics this character has to offer. We took a look at all the little mini follow-ups, the ways you smack him on the ground and hit him with guaranteed damage afterward. We looked at normal hit launchers and counter hit launchers. Different combo paths. There's one universal combo that works on almost everything. Some crumple stuns get an even better combo, and then a couple ones get even more than that. Few unique ones, you gotta learn some different openers, but by and large, most of your combos are the same. So you learn a couple of different caveats, and you're good to go with all of that. I looked at wall carry, which is don't even have to think about because you're ending that with the same move you would normally do. Birds and Beasts is your go-to combo ender out in the open or getting near the wall. Even if you do a wall bounce, that's still a great option. And if you splat into the wall, guess what? Still a great option. Can't go wrong with that move. So we looked at all the other wall mechanics that you might use. A lot of those are based on getting you back into stance quickly right on top of them. So getting the wall splat isn't necessarily about damage. It can be about setting them up for even more damage by going into your stance mix-ups. And then floor break, wall break, etc. Just like any other character, learn the set of moves that do the most damage, and you're good. The rest of it comes with practice, flexibility, and the experience to realize your space around the arena. Is the wall on my left? Is the wall coming up? What do I adjust in my combo to get there correctly? And that's it. That'll come with playing, just like everything else does. So I hope this kind of helped you out. And as I mentioned in the beginning, if you haven't yet, be sure to check out the full character guide linked in the description to go over the entire moveset, playstyle, things you would want to learn, how the character works, and how you play with her before you actually get combos, right? It's not as easy as you think to just hit people with combos all day. Got to learn the game first. So be sure to check that out. And I appreciate you coming to hang out and enjoy this video for a while. Please click the like and subscribe and the donate bell and all that good stuff. Whatever you got down there, click it. I appreciate it, and I will see all of you guys in the next video. Later.